SAS Who Dares Wins star Ant Middleton has made some rather controversial comments about how he raises his children. When you see him there talking, he's a dad just talking about, you know, his son and his daughter. And do you think it's sort of instinctive in you to treat boys and girls differently?
I'm really sorry, Andrea. Look, I was born in the 70s. I grew up in a generation when men said things like that and nobody batted an eyelid. I've got 2 children. I've got a boy and a girl. That is sexist. What he said is sexist. I feel like he's been brainwashed into believing that that's what men are supposed to be, like, you know, stiff upper lip, don't cry. And you know, if it's a girl, you've got to go and be really soft with her. Yeah, I understand he's got children and it's each child for their own, but I've got a son and, you know, he's quite sensitive, but I don't ever say to him, oh, stop crying, you know, man up or grow up or anything like that, because the suicide rates for men in this country are very, very high. And when you look back at what they're linked to, it's because they don't talk about their feelings, because they were brought up not to show their emotion. So I'm sorry, I'm really passionate about this. I feel he's a great role model for many things, but when it comes to this particular issue of parenting, I'm sorry, I think he's really failing. I do. I think it's wrong.
I think it also depends on the child, because obviously I'm the same. I have a son and a daughter, but the characters are so incredibly different. And I know that when Amy was little, it'd be more likely that she would get up, dust herself off, you know, run and carry on charging. You know, my mum still talks about the time I was shouting across the garden, "Amy, stop biting the dog!" They just have different characteristics, so maybe it's more to do with that.
Yeah, no, I think I don't want to be too harsh on him, because I kind of get what he means. I would never, ever say to a boy, man up and don't cry, ever. But there is an element, and I'm like you, I always want, I'm going to treat my kids exactly the same. And when they're little, I'm talking 2 or 3, whenever they fell over, whether it was the boys or Kiri, you run over and go, oh, you're all right. But I have to say that it's funny, because when people would play really rough with the boys, I'd go, oh, my God, they're loving it. You know, the wrestling and they're throwing them down on the couch and the pillow fights and all that. And then when I'd see them doing it with Kira, instinctively, there was a part of me going, don't be so rough with her. Now, does that make me sexy? I don't know. That wasn't Kira. It wasn't me saying she's weaker than the boys. It was just an instinctive thing.
But what you've got to be mindful of is to teach boys and girls to be resilient. So I understand where you're coming from, that if your son wants to cry, if he wants to show his emotions, that is great. But in the real world, both boys and girls have got to learn how to stand up to adversity, bullying and being disliked. So somewhere along the line, we've got to find the means to talk to show them that it's OK to be tough as well.
And also speak up for themselves.
Defend themselves. But I still find that because Kira's nearly 18 now, she's 18 next month, I still find that when she goes out, compared to when the boys went out at that age, she just looks so vulnerable when she goes out. I just have this instinct, like, text me when you're there, text me. And if she doesn't, I'm all over the place.
But do you think as well, we're talking about it from a mother's perspective and feeling protective over our children. Dads have a perspective as well, I think, particularly over daughters. And watching that video there, even his body language as well was protective over, you know, talking about his little girl.
We have an issue in this country of men crying. We still feel that if a man cries or if a man opens up, he's weak, he's a bit...
Well, look, last Sunday night, sorry to interrupt you, Pauline, at the risk of mentioning my heartthrob Adrian Dunbar one more time, on television, millions and millions, I think about 9 million people tuned in to watch Line of Duty, and there was a man of a certain generation doing something that's hardly ever seen on television. He cried. That shows how far we've come in recognising that men do cry and men aren't
don't you think it's good to show that, though, as well?
It will have given hope to a lot of men watching.
It's OK to cry. It's like the men's Full Monty last night that was on, and they were all crying, and it's so emotional. So
and obviously on at the same time as Line of Duty, SAS Who Dares Wins final, and you'd have seen everybody sobbing on that. Wayne Bridge went on to win, and he cried through most of it and showed actually that you can have 2 different sides, tough and compassionate.